It's a great pleasure for me to not only engage with Covenant University, but to discuss with you and give a synopsis of this book, Making Africa Work Through the Power of Innovative Volunteerism. To start off, I would like to appreciate the Vice Chancellor of Covenant University, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Covenant University, the entire academic and student fraternity of this university, and also extend my regards to the Director and CEO of Solution 17 for Climate Action and everyone who is invited to be part of this discussion today. The words of the elders do not lock all the doors. They leave the right doors open. Those of you who have had the opportunity to read my book will recall that this book is weaved into African proverbs so that the fabric of our culture, of our upbringing, can actually not only be relatable, but showcase that we need to use what we have in abundance. This proverb, as I used in this book, I used to pass a very fundamental message. And if you jog your mind just a little bit, you will agree with me that the context of this proverb was at the point of transitioning into my destiny. As elaborated in the first two chapters of this book, the circumstances of my birth and early growth were not glamorous. I was born in a small village in the northwestern part of Cameroon, and I grew up walking long distances to school without shoes, just as many across the continent do, which is not a problem. I grew up bearing the brunt of crop failure, seeing my mother's crops fail as a result of changes in weather patterns. I studied under trees, just like many across the entire continent do. These were some of the challenges I faced while growing up. Regardless of who you are, as articulated in the book, regardless of where you come from, regardless of how mighty or how weak one might be, we all have a common destiny to fulfill on this earth. And this destiny is tied to answering one fundamental question that I asked in the book. What am I doing to touch lives of others, and what is my usefulness beyond my immediate family, beyond my immediate circles? What is my usefulness as a citizen of the African continent to ensure that at least we can turn challenges into opportunities? In recent days, the urgency for each and every one of us to answer this question has gained increased impetus. And what we are seeing clearly is that we cannot continuously live on borrowed salt. Africa cannot continue to live on borrowed salt. The unfolding global economic crisis created by the global health pandemic COVID-19 is the latest harsh reminder to this reality, because we know that while Africa needs an estimated $100 billion in emergency response at this hour of need, of course, the continent is looking elsewhere. And the question that we need to ask is, who is going to bail out Africa? Because we've seen different continents actually not only putting in place stimulus packages that are worth trillions of dollars to be able to ensure that at least they bail out their economies and their own citizens. But at this crunch time, the question of who is going to bail out Africa is a $1 million question that is answered in this book, because this is yet another warning shot to the continent that the time for the continent to apply the emergency brakes on the path of dependency is long overdue. A lesson to all of us as citizens of the continent that we can only bet on what we have at hand, and that is our sovereign capital, the citizens of the African continent, especially a youth who constitute over 60% of the entire population of the continent, and the diversity of their skills, their talent, their aptitudes, their energy, their creativity, and the interest that they embody represents Africa's sovereign capital. The urgent need to apply the emergency brakes and leverage on this sovereign capital is both the motivation and the main thrust of this book, Making Africa Work Through the Power of Innovative Volunteerism. This is quite very, very instrumental, because the paradox of lack and missed plentiful opportunities in the entire African continent today is something that we need to revisit. How can a continent that have everything, lacks everything, And how can we solve this? By using what we have. And solving these challenges needs you and me. It is a personal responsibility. And just as the African proverb would put it, we should not look elsewhere. We should not look at where we fell, but let's look at where we sleep. When you put this in perspective, what this book actually tries to do is that the paradox of a continent most blessed with natural endowments than any other, taking last in economic development, can be addressed. I postulated in the book that over time I've come to realize that the biggest causative factor is that Africa's attention has always been on physical resources, the minerals, the oil, the monetized resources, and they've taken these as the greatest resource that the continent has to offer. And this is a big misconception. It's a big misconception. It is a fallacy. Because what Africa have got is her sovereign capital. And that this focus has been at the expense of developing the continent's sovereign capital. Its most valuable resource, her people, which is you and me. I make the case for the urgent needs of an about turn, informed by the fact that a skilled person capable of turning challenges into opportunity is 15 times the value of natural capital and 4 times the value of produced capital. I then outline what I consider the formula for making this turnabout a reality for the continent. And that this formula begins with what I call a renewed mindset. A renewed mindset change, starting with you and me. To be a point where we stop complaints and victimhood and start to see ourselves as personal, responsible people that can be able to turn challenges into opportunities, where we see ourselves as solution carriers, where we develop our own unborrowed vision and passionately usher ourselves to action without always having to blame others or waiting and looking for approvals or validations of others all the time. It is energized and sustained mindsets by you and me. It is through shunning selfishness and embracing selflessness, shunning individualism and embracing collectivism, that we can then be able to drive Africa's transformational climate of resilient growth. In chapter 7, I opened that chapter with an intriguing African proverb that cross a river in a crowd and the crocodiles wouldn't eat you. This proverb encapsulates the essence of innovative volunteerism. The essence of innovative volunteerism, which is the premise of this book, which is the formula that I have articulated in the book, and premise on driving collectivism, not individualism, embracing selflessness, not selfishness, inspiring people to find their passion and drive using principles and aspects that have actually been forgotten for quite a very long time. Engaging the entirety of human capital in the continent so that at least we build and inspire them to find their passion, because aspects like passion, dedication, determination, resilience, hopefulness, humility, and readiness to learn need to be tapped into, because these are values that are fundamental for progress in any venture of life. But the paradox is that while these qualities lie latent in many across the continent, they can never be unlocked by only focusing on money alone or material alone that society in the continent places the highest premium on. No salary, no amount of money, no amount of material compensation can ever unlock these qualities that are latent in many today. It is therefore important, as you will see in the book, innovative volunteerism is expressed through at the entire book as the strategic development that can be used to nurture and drive transformational change and build climate resilience. I look forward to applying with all of you this logic of innovative volunteerism. Thank you.